Just beginning the podcast with a little word from our sponsor. Have you ever made a terrible mistake and thought, never again? Well, so is our sponsor this week, Swim Lessons with Michael Barrymore. If you
I think I'm regretting the decision right now.
It says here, just to also mention, that armbands are mandatory. Wrote that in capital letters. Use offer code SURFSUP for 10% off.
Does mandatory mean that you have to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Armbands, absolutely mandatory there. It's not happening again.
Yeah,
Make sure you float.
Make sure, yeah.
It's one of them words or when people say it's this or the latter, I don't know what the latter means.
The last one.
Oh, well. And the former is
the former is the first.
Not snakes.
Yeah. Snakes? Oh, yeah, I get you. I thought you were just saying there's a lot of untrustworthy people about here.
Some snakes.
Michael Barrymore, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a pretty untrustworthy guy. Got Alan Irwin on the podcast. Alan Irwin, what's your position on Zionism? No, I'm only messing.
No, see what I like about this is that you went, I'm only messing, implies that I have a bad opinion on it.
Tiananmen Square, yes or no?
Put that down, I get back on.
This is what people, politicians mean when they say gotcha questions. Where you're like,
yeah, that just means we have you in a room. No, it just means that we've locked the doors.
When I was stuck. No, I'd left school by this stage, but there was a guy, Ciaran, in my class. They all got invited to go to Stephen Nolan. It was the Good Friday Agreement, 18 years on. So we were nice. We all got invited to Stephen Nolan, but I'd left school.
The Good Friday Agreement is legal
nice,
now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
but it's
horny Good Friday Agreement.
This guy didn't.
Good Friday Agreement. You know what I mean?
He wasn't going, so I just showed up at the BBC. I was like, my name's Ciaran Casey, and the BBC went, go on ahead then.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on in that place.
We have a couple of fadas in your suite.
Yeah, so I got to sit in, but with my mate Ahmed in school, and the whole time he was just waiting to ask someone on Stephen Nolan from Sinn Féin, and he had his phone up, and it just said Birmingham bombing. He was just dying to ask someone from Sinn Féin.
Just
the whole time.
Just Birmingham excuse me, sir. Birmingham bombing?
He didn't get the waiter. It wrapped up. Mickey done support actually for it, but it wrapped up. And then we got
Mickey
Birmingham bombing.
Mickey did support for the Good Friday Agreement.
That was actually him. It wasn't Bono. It was
not even Mo Molam just throwing her wig down. Mickey with the waistcoat back.
It was 2016. But then because my mate was standing to ask this question to, I think it was Chris Hazard or someone from Sinn Féin, and they wouldn't answer him. He was like, please take my question. When we got to take a photo with Stephen Nolan was like, what the fuck's wrong with you, boy? I can feel your heart beating for your chest. It also says, how hard was Nolan feeling?
Yeah, Nolan had gripping. He was gripping.
I've never met Nolan, but I did when I worked in BBC Complaints. Part of the training, they give you a wee tour of the BBC, to be like, here's all the people doing the things that people will be ruining your life to talk about. And we met Hugo Duncan, who was an absolute delight.
He is a fucking
lovely
delight.
He drives from Strabane every day to do that job.
Does he?
Yeah, mental. And he goes, where do you see my show plan? And he turned around an empty sheet of paper. And then he literally has a box of tapes.
That guy's a legend.
A box of tapes.
What does he drive as well, do you think? Because in my head he's coming down in a tractor.
He's flash enough, because when I worked in Marxie's, he used to shop in there now and again. He'd come in with sunglasses on.
Oh, here.
Proper,
pretty slick.
Yeah. Big fan of Red Bull, apparently.
Oh, yeah?
He is. Yeah. There was Red Bull on the table and all that.
He doesn't strike me as a drinker now.
No. But he tell you, that guy is raking it in. Everywhere he goes. Yeah. It's usually the wee church hall or something, and it was sold out. Average age 89, and they just love it.
Do you think there'll ever be any allegations about Hugo?
No,
See, I don't think so either.
Not, no.
He's got a purity in his soul. Also, if you look at him, he looks like his needs are met. Do you know
one
what
with a box of tapes could be an evil man. That's well established.
Well, his producer was in Madden's one night, and I asked him, what dirt have you got on him? And she goes, he really likes Red Bull. And that's the worst.
That's the worst thing you can say about somebody.
Yeah. Do you know what as well? If you're addicted to something that cheap as well, you're never going to do anything evil. You know what I mean? You're never going to get the insurance money just to get a 6-pack of cans on that stuff, you know?
6-pack of Red Bull as well is... That would kill me.
Yeah, well, you'd be able to put out the fire if you drank that. You would, with your breath, you'd be running about. I think with this tape stuff as well, I'm kind of thinking no one who's that technologically inadequate, even if he was evil, could do much evil. Do you know what I mean? It's he's not going to be able to tie you up because he probably...
He's like, I can only film you on Betamax.
Tie you up with the tapes.
Yeah. It's like Saw, but yeah, he's just using
You're
blue
probably
tack.
too young for tapes, Ciaran, are you?
I know an absolutely disgusting story about tapes.
Do go on.
That's not what I asked, but
Yeah,
all
sure.
right, yeah, go ahead.
One of my mates told me in primary school that he ran out of toilet paper and just sitting in the bathroom was a fucking Lion King VHS. And he said he used the tape to clean his ass.
It's the circle of
Hold
shite.
on, hold on. That's very good, very good. But like, it doesn't. There's no absorbency on that.
No, it's just like,
You,
And I
you take
think
what
what
you
you
get.
mean is he took the spool out of it. He didn't
Yeah,
use
yeah.
the hard plastic edge like a hook.
surely you take the VHS and you take the cover out. At least you get something with it.
Aye, there's the label, even
Yeah.
with the little. I mean, you'd get at least one wipe out of that,
Pick the
right?
sticker off the VHS.
You might have to do
Stop
the thing.
acting like that was his only options.
I would use the wall before
This
I
is,
used it. I would spread my cheeks and edge along the wall before I use it.
My wanking's not going to help the situation. Why are you edging?
This is, by the way, the same guy who put someone's hair through a window in school, so he's not.
Just to
gonna get-
revisit edging, I like in this scenario, like, I'm not coming. I'm like, oh, that's messy. I better wipe my
I'll save that for when I have toilet roll.
Yeah.
Just go on with Simba.
Imagine if he unspilled it and then he put the spool back in and then someone watches it and it's like, you know those old like cigarette burns that you used to see on VHS and all? It's just shite marks all over the Lion King.
Why is there a fucking carrot in this? Oh, it's vomit. Sorry. Corn. That's
Start with Michael Barrymore and this is
I know,
where we go.
Who knew that
This
was
is
the
where we go.
highbrow moment of
Yeah.
this one? Who knew?
There is a lot of shite talk. I've been talk about like our bowels because I mean we're three men who've probably got pretty awful stools.
I think we certainly look like we do, don't we?
More
I know.
chair, this, isn't
I know.
it?
Like two of the all these chairs are warm already. Though I know this is quite an IBS grip. I got Ciaran once disabled key for we talked about this in previous podcasts for disabled bathrooms, and I remember afterwards remembering that you have IBS, and I felt really bad that I hadn't got you one in the past, and I think
You did get me
I
one
did
for
hurt-
Christmas, and then when I moved out of my ex-wife's house, I forgot it. So
Oh
it's-
no!
So
Oh,
now
that's-
she's having loads of comfortable poos.
she kept the shites in the divorce.
Yeah, exactly. So, but although there's that thing where like loads of local comedians have IBS, and then you realise you go, there's actually the very obvious reason for that, which is we eat like shit, and we drink too much,
Yeah.
and we have weird hours, and we're a bit nervous all the time.
Yeah,
The nerves,
So,
it's tonight.
I think
Yeah.
there's certain pressures and stuff like that. I'll tell you
Quite
what
literally.
I've been doing though is I've been drinking kefir every morning. You know, like
that
fermented
fucking
yogurt, and it's like ice cream basically. It tastes like to me because I got a vanilla one from Tesco. But this is the sort of clickbait that I'm an absolute sucker for. Is the stuff where it's like I tried X for 30 days. Here's what happened, and I read one of them like I drank kefir every morning for 30 days, and I feel like a Superman. And it's been 2 weeks, and every morning diarrhea. But it tastes nice. The kefir, I mean, it tastes pretty good. It's a good way to start my day. But yeah, a lot of terrible shits.
Avoiding Guinness has been a big one for me. We're going like just not
Oh,
drinking
Guinness
it,
is
yeah.
like one way ticket to a mud pie, like.
Oh yeah. It's very. Do you know what it is? It feels the way it feels going in the way it can feel going out.
Well, no, do
Ricky.
you know when people say like, "Oh, Guinness is more like a dinner than a drink," and you
Yeah.
go, "Yeah, it is," and that's like having 12 dinners. Of
Yeah.
course, you're going to shit yourself.
What is it
Yeah.
like? A
It's
pint
the
is like
bread.
6 slices of bread or something like that, or 4
Aye.
slices of bread. So it's like it's a lot of fucking bread.
Yeah.
The wee boy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm actually tomorrow. Well, by the time this no, not by the time this will be out. This time tomorrow I'll be in Rome. I'm absolutely buzzing, like.
Nice.
And the wine will flow.
I
like
don't know,
wine.
mate. I'm just back from Paris, and it was fucking
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah, you had a rough
Please,
one in
yeah.
Paris there.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
do you
why
want to tell us
our
about it?
question today.
Yeah, why not?
Or can you tell us? About it?
Yeah, of course, can. So my girlfriend's pregnant, and you can't.
Congratulations, by the way. Fuck.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's not like you've heard
Silence.
this. Sorry, it's not like you heard
Silence.
this information for the first time.
Imagine if we just said nothing about it. That was
So
rude.
from the end of the month, she can't fly. So we're like, right, we'll try and get away and go somewhere in like February. And then she has a 6-year-old sister. There's like a 10 or 11 year age gap. There's not. There's like 20 years, but which is also wrong. So we were like, oh, we could take her to Disneyland.
Yeah.
And then so there was me, my girlfriend, her wee sister, and her mum. And it turns out, if you want to know this, Paris, not a city for somebody who's 6 months pregnant with sciatica or a 6-year-old on their first ever holiday, because it was a fucking nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
Just everybody was in bad form. We did that thing, where you go, we'll get the early flight so we get a full day.
Yeah.
And then you're so tired. Like, we were up at 3 or whatever, so you're so tired that you're like, I don't want to do any of this. I don't want to. And then she's 6, so understandably, even if she's hungry or tired, she's cranky. But also, when you're 6, you don't appreciate like sightseeing. You don't look at the Arc de Triomphe when you're 6 and go, unreal. What an unbelievable feat of architecture. You know what I mean? She like Disneyland
against the Austrians.
Yeah.
She's just fucking terrible.
Singing the national anthem.
Just not a good time.
Also, you're kind of the only person there who's not A, a mum, B, a child, or C, pregnant. So you're weirdly in this position of responsibility.
Well, in the end, I had to amuse myself one afternoon. So I went to Versailles, right? And I was like, go and have a look at the big treaty room or whatever. And here, you know me, I love a bit of
that is
history.
a classic Alan Irwin activity.
It is. The Treaty of Versailles is very much Alan coded, and that nobody's happy with the outcome. So I went to Versailles. It was so busy. I just got in the train and went home again. I was like, I can't be fucked with this. Yeah. It was so.
Did
mental.
You see the room?
Also, men are fucking perverts in France. A lot of literally, someone said to my girlfriend, "Ooh la la," as she walked past. Right?
Glad to meet Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah,
a real celebrity.
Fucking hell. So it was just all very I don't know. It was too busy. We should have went to a beach for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Which actually also would have been a better holiday for the 6-year-old. Because it would have been so intense.
Oh, you could swim her
she'd
about
never even
a
been
bit.
in a plane before, and we were like, right, let's do 20,000 steps a day.
How long is the flight to France? Paris?
Like 2 hours. It's
it's
not
pretty
even 2
decent.
hours.
I'm not a great flyer.
Did you go to
myself,
that fucking airport?
Charles de Gaulle? Or the
other one?
Oh, no, we were Charles de Gaulle, thankfully.
Yeah.
That other one where they're like, oh, it's definitely in Paris. And you're like, I'm
not.
basically in Spain. This is Spain.
I was in that one the other day. It's like the fucking black taxi depot in town. Like,
Ah,
and
yeah.
literally
there is,
just
yeah.
like, it's a shed.
There's so many. Do you know the best airport I've ever been to was Knock. Right?
Knock, really?
Knock, because Knock is
wee
so
old ladies.
small. It's class. First of all, it's full of people going on they're like, oh, let's go to Lourdes. They have a separate gate just for religious flights,
Serious?
right? But there's only 3 gates. There's 1 security scanner, and we went. So we were flying to Glasgow, and my ex-wife was from Sligo, so her parents minded the dogs. We flew from Knock, and literally walk as soon as I got out of the car. 7 minutes later, I was sitting having a coffee, waiting on the flight. I was
Wow.
unbelievable. I was like, I want to fly only out of tiny airports.
Yeah,
Where were you
join
going
the
from that?
priesthood.
Glasgow.
That's not bad.
Or no, Edinburgh. But
I went to whenever I was last in Paris, when I was first in Paris a couple of years ago, we went to one of the lesser known airports in the outside of the city, and I left my bag unattended for a couple of minutes, and I came back and there was like a SWAT team around it and armed guys, and I was
What?
like, yeah, because I left it unattended, and they were a bit like, oh, here it is dodgy, and obviously they're a bit
and you
touchy
just got
about
off
the
a flight from Belfast as well.
yeah,
So they're like,
right enough, yeah.
Then they saw you and went, oh, it's alright.
Yeah.
It's all right.
There to fucking
I
fly.
seen a suitcase getting blown up in France.
No way.
At an airport, yeah.
Oh, like a controlled one, or
Yeah,
like
it was left unattended and had to shut down the place and blow it up on the
Yeah, they're
runway.
really
See, being
tense
French
about
and all, they probably get double time for explosions, so they're like,
Yeah.
any excuse to get one in,
Yeah, it's that and naps. That's the
Yeah.
two big things you get
And
bonuses.
the pace is even in restaurants, you're like, fuck, it takes forever to get the bill and all. It's real. I actually stole a pint. Sorry. I went. The first night, everybody else was asleep, and I was like, I am wired. So I went to a pub, and the rugby was on. France was playing, but I fucking hate rugby, but anyway. And I had one beer. And then I could not get the guy's attention for 40 minutes. And I went, oh fuck, I was way home.
What is a beer in
so I'm
France?
sorry.
Yeah.
Beer's dear.
I mean,
actually.
that's on him though,
Wine
isn't
is
it?
dirt cheap, but beer was it was like €7 or €8. And it was one of those ones where it's like a half litre, but it's about 2/3 head.
Yeah.
That's like your marriage. Or actually, no, sorry, no, that's not what it is. That sounds like a pretty good marriage. 2/3 head.
2/3 head,
Sorry,
yeah.
sorry. I don't know what came over me there. There was
Every
a bit of
Thursday
the
night
spirit
head.
of Tate came over
The
me.
spirit of Tate.
The spirit
Actually,
of
if you don't
Tate.
mean the Tate modern.
Yeah, the artist. He's a cubist, is he? I just guessed.
The
Yeah.
Tate Modern's a fucking gallery.
I know, but I just assumed it was named after an artist called Tate, or is it just named after a guy who likes galleries?
It's named after the podcast there, Andrew.
That would be strange, just like a wee gallery of misogyny.
just paintings of a guy going like, see you. That's what misogyny looks like to me. See you.
See when I get home.
Here.
What does it say on your
World of Isles.
I've been there. Yeah,
You have been there?
Good wee day out. Good wee
Ultimate
day out.
date. Really good date.
Should you get them to sponsor you?
Genuine. Actually, do you know what? We probably could. But I
use
tried
the
to give
Cold
them-
Isles and they'll let you pet one or something.
Oh, we could bring one in.
Yeah, for every
Bring it in.
podcast,
Do
I'm
you know
just
what?
posting like we're sponsored by.
Because they
World
bring them
of
into
Isles.
schools, so they must be nice Isles. They must be pretty chummy stuff.
World of Owls.
Yeah.
Because of the F and the O there, I thought it was World of Vowels. I thought it was.
Oh,
Here, World of Isles, that'd be a great day.
Yeah,
You're
that's Do you know what's nice about it? Short, because you're just they're like
Well,
6. and
once you get to
5?
like I though, you're like, well, I know what's coming. Like,
Yeah. There's no suspense. Is the problem? Have to do it out of order, maybe. That's what they. That's
Are
how
you
they get
actually
you.
thinking about what's next?
Yeah,
I-
I was wondering if
A-I-O-U, come
Yeah.
on.
I remember like it with the where I work, the school I work in. Games of Hangman going for a while.
It's like you have to go. That's not a letter, mate. You've drawn a little drawing in that space.
Yeah, I was like, it's one word. It's a wrestler. And I went, it was fucking Undertaker.
Triple H.
And I went, one word.
But it's called The Undertaker.
But I went, one word. And he went, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I was like, no.
Is it hyphenated? Is it?
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, one word. And he got you. And I went, Batista. What the fuck's going on?
Bautista.
Or it's like, I always say, like, when we teach of mice and men, I can spot the kid who's going to say the N word from a mile away. Like,
Can I read this bit?
I was like,
Yeah.
Seamus, he's my dad. Like, just put me on, coach. I'm ready.
He's never said a word before in that class as well.
Thankfully,
He's looked ahead.
He can't read the rest of the words, so he's going, he can't get to there.
Like, can I just skip to this bit?
I have a real memory of being in first year and we were reading Boy by Roald Dahl. You know, it's like his memoir.
Yes.
And at that stage, like, this is the level of maturity you had at 12, you know. Anybody saying the word hard made you laugh.
Yeah.
It made you think of boners.
Yeah.
And I remember like properly trying desperately not to laugh because I could see in the bit I was reading the next paragraph had the word hard on it.
Right.
And then I laughed the whole way through the paragraph. And I was like, what is funny? What is funny?
What was it that was hard as well? I feel like that's
It
an
was not.
important.
Oh, well, at one point they said the hard shaft of the sexton. I was like, come
Well,
on.
no, yeah.
Come on.
I think that's earned. That's an earned laugh. You know.
But you all had to pretend you didn't know. The teacher had to pretend he didn't know why we were laughing. You're like, you know, and you think it's funny too. You dirty bastard.
Did you have to do like speaking and listening tasks if it was part of your GCSE for the coursework? Like we did one where it was like you read a story, then you had to act out your version of the story about this guy who works in a fruit shop and he bonds with the owner, and then one day the owner someone walks in and shoots the owner basically, and he sees it. But they put up on a motorbike, and I was doing it, being like, I heard a motorbike. I looked up because I always love motorbikes, and some smack heckle from the back. She's a beaut.
He was just listening out for the.
What is this story?
motor
A guy
vehicles?
owns a fruit shop, and then he gets shot.
He was like,
Hey, not before friendship is formed as well. There's love here.
the bond. He's his boss, but the bond over summer, and he grows to actually like him. And then one day he's just putting out oranges and turns around, and a UVF guy comes in and shoots his boss.
Oh, he's a
But-
UVF guy as well. Shoots him.
Yeah, that's the key detail you left out.
Yeah.
Paramilitary
Yeah.
involvement here.
But I was sitting going like, and then we had the act out pretending to be the guy and watching it, which was like actually quite dramatic for fourth year class.
Yeah.
Pretending the guy who watched his boss getting shot in the head.
we did an inspector calls. You know that one where it's
Oh
like,
yeah, that's
where it's like, oh, was he a ghost all along? And you're like, and then we watched the film, which is really silly, where they figure they go, I think he may be a ghost. And they open the door and he's gone. He was in a chair and the chair's still rocking, but he's gone. You're like, this is very inconsistent. Why would the
Yeah.
chair be rocking if he's a fucking ghost? This doesn't make any sense.
What's the plot? The twist in that is that both the fiance and the brother of
All of them
All of them
have
shagged her?
touched this woman's life, and
Yeah.
two of them have shot. You know,
Yeah.
Aye.
Even the mothers had to go.
That was actually the working title for the play as well.
All of them have shagged her.
No, it's because even the mothers had to go. was what stuck out to me. Alan, you were talking about Paris there. I feel like that's a good segue into our audience questions about bad travel experiences.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I was fumbling from my phone a wee minute ago there.
I got it in here.
Yeah. Though, do you have one yourself, Ciaran, off the top of your head?
Well, we got a absolutely terrible reply from Daniel Houston, who says his worst travel experience is that he got to Florida airport, his flight was cancelled, and he had to stay in Florida another night. God forbid. Like,
Oh, here,
God forbid you have to stay in the Sunshine
No
State.
harm to you, Daniel. It's shameful that you went. I need to tell them how
Yeah,
awful this was.
the nation must know.
Now, an extra night in Florida. What bit of Florida? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Had to
Do you ever
stick
play the
some-
Florida Man game? Where you
Nope.
look up
Oh,
your
yes.
birthday and type in Florida Man, and there's always a mental news story.
Yeah.
no. Oh,
Yeah, what's your birthday, Ciaran?
12th of March.
12th of March here. We're not far off each other. 12th of March, Florida.
Me and look at my friends for like 13 years, and I have no idea when his birthday is.
I
just
have,
start
a,
in
I have a
March.
calendar reminder for years, but I also don't know it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Florida man sentenced to 12 years for exploiting blind elderly man of more than 20 grand. So that's your Florida man story.
Florida man sentenced in egg smuggling case. Might be a euphemism, who knows. Florida man arrested after trying to cross Atlantic in hamster wheel vessel.
Hamster wheel vessel.
He tried
gotta
to
give it to
run
him.
from fuck's sake. He tried to run from Florida to London in a homemade vessel resembling a hamster wheel. They caught him 70 miles off the coast.
To 70? Man, this guy does
He
cardio.
refused to leave for 3 days.
So is there like a helicopter just over this guy for 3 days?
Stop
just
running.
Please, mate, please. Just through a megaphone. Could you stop now? Give us. I've
Fantastic.
got Florida man accused of jumping naked on neighbour's trampoline before breaking into home. And you got to admire someone's spirit of play here. Daniel Houston's story, yeah, they stuck him in a hotel and had to wait a full 24 hours for the next one. Wanted
He's
to
young
die.
as well. You can
Yeah.
cope
He's
with it.
young,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's like
Time
12 or
stretches
something.
ahead of him.
There's like a pool.
Read a
Probably
fucking
like
book. Yeah. Sorry, it sounds like we called him dumb. So, read a fucking
Read a
book.
fucking book.
Nearly.
When we did a school trip to America and we were in the airport, I thought, oh, there's girls I want to impress here. This is the level of what I thought was impressive when I was 17. I went and bought The Idiot by Dostoevsky because it was like, they'll see me reading this like deep book, and it was so boring that I had to pretend to read it for most of the flight. Like I was turning the pages but not reading it.
Yeah, and those guys, like, they probably don't even know the book as well. They're like looking at the book going, "This
Well,
guy
nobody
just
goes,
likes to
oh,
read
look
about
at him
dumb
reading
people."
Dostoevsky. I am ready to write him.
I think some guys, when they look like they're trying to read a book in public, like you can tell they're trying to look like,
Oh, yeah.
like they're thirst trapping. Do you know what I mean? You and they're like, yeah, and it's like it's just a book called Feminist Literature.
Do you know what I find
brackets,
very
I'm
embarrassing?
6'4".
You know whenever Harry Potter was big, and people would buy the adult cover.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
What's that?
fuck,
Has he
'cause
got his dick out?
it's the same book, but it just had like a more tasteful cover.
Okay.
To be like, oh, it's an adult book. You're reading a book for children. Fucking grow up.
I thought it was like Harry was having a wank on the front of it.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's like it's always an
Voldemort
artifact from the
I so it'll
novel.
be like the Horcrux.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
okay.
it looked tasteful and they'll be like, oh yes, it's an adult book. You're like, you're reading children's literature, which is fine.
Yeah.
But stop trying to pretend that it's anything
You can't
else.
turn it into a
Goblet
coffee
of Fire
table.
was the goblet. Like Order of the
Yeah.
Phoenix was just the Phoenix or something like
You
that.
should know a lot about this, Kieran. Were you trying to look at more?
He is young, in fairness. He's
I
a young
finished
boy.
the first Harry Potter and I came to the Reading Chamber of Secrets and I'm like, I'm out.
I think I read 4 of them when I was a kid, but like you see, there's nothing makes me want to boke in my mouth more than getting like a 40-year-old going, oh, I'm a bit of a Hufflepuff. Read another book. Read another book.
It is just the modern version of like, oh, I'm Chandler and I'm Monica, isn't it? And it's like, stop trying to put yourself into a category here.
I
And,
mean, I'm definitely Slytherin.
well, you should be put in a camp, obviously.
yeah.
But like, but if you're a Slytherin, you know, just that's when what's the poem? At first they came for the Slytherins, and no one stood up for me because I
More
was
like,
not a
my
Slytherin.
father will hear about this.
Do you know what? I literally don't know what house it'd be, and I'm happy never to know because I'm not fucking 7. Right?
Well, one
So-
of the houses was just everyone else, wasn't it? Like Hufflepuff, they did sort of go, well, these guys are compassionate, and it's like, but that's an afterthought. It's mostly
Yeah.
just the everyone else.
what
club.
are they? There's Gryffindor.
Brave,
Brave.
Ravenclaw, smart, Slytherin sneaky, which is absolutely rude.
Imagine on your first day of school, you're 11,
No,
but you're
it's like-
sneaky.
Literally racially profiling
Slytherin
children.
is ambitious.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what they call it, isn't it? That's the
Ambition, yeah, yeah.
fancy.
But it's
Elon
the-
Musk
it's the
was
wee
pretty
dick one.
ambitious.
The art of the deal.
The dog whistle term,
No,
isn't it?
yeah, no, it's very much like racial profiling, right?
Yeah.
Because imagine, like, literally, you went to school, right? And the first day, they went, "Oh, you seem a bit of a knob, so you're in the evil house now. That's you for the rest of your life now.
Slytherins have no
hanging
vote.
around." That's like going, "Here, this kid looks like they're easily led. They look like
Yeah.
they can be led down a bad path. Let's put them with all the drug dealers, and then make
That'll
sure,
tough them up.
just so we know that we're never wrong."
I would feel bad for any working class wizards who are in Slytherin as well, because they're all clearly like upper middle
Old money.
class, like dickheads, old money, exactly. Going like, my father would hear about this, and
Well,
all. It's
also,
like,
the sorting hat, if he went Slytherin, I'd be like, no, I don't think so, mate, not doing that. Like, I don't argue
yeah.
back. Like, being like,
No,
no.
Yeah, like
you
the
must.
whispers.
You must. Now go and hang out with all those children with racist names. Fucking Cho Chang. Suck my dick.
Seamus Finnegan was
Yeah.
a big one
Yeah.
as well. And what was it? There was-
Jerome Blackman.
there was there was
Try and think that you're Jermaine Jackson.
R.I.P.
Is he dead?
I died just before Christmas.
I think we've talked
Dun,
about
dun, 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 dun.
I think we talked about this on the podcast before, but
Blame it on the
wasn't
short hat.
You know, wealth, trickle down wealth.
Yeah.
wasn't there somebody called like she had a normal name like Bertha Chicken Fingers or something, and it was like she was a celebrity, a minor celebrity of some
One of
sort.
those normal names.
And like a normal first name.
Yeah.
Bertha's still not normal, I guess, isn't it? I couldn't think of a normal
Jane, or
woman's name, and they were going to put that in the
Are you
Andrew
old
Tate
enough
gallery.
to remember Bertha, the kids' TV show?
I don't think so.
About a living machine
No.
in a factory.
No,
It was
what was that?
awful.
What was that about?
It went like it was about a living machine. It was called Bertha. She was a big green machine and she had eyes, and she'd be like. And they put packages into her. I'm only vaguely remembering this, to be honest, but it was I didn't
Sounds
make it
like
up.
a dream.
And the theme tune was like, "Bertha, lovely Bertha, you are a lovely machine." Bizarre era
That
kids
is-
TV.
Yeah. So what did she do? She just put packages in her. That was it.
Yeah, I think I was.
She kept them.
They'd go, "Oh, Bertha's back end's not working here. We need to repair it." And they're like, "You know what you're doing here."
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
just, you know.
That's
um,
the parody.
That was like do you ever watch the Gingerbread Man? The one where they all lived in a fucking. There was like Mr. Salt and Miss Pepper, and then there was an old bitch that lived in a teapot at the top called the Old Bag because she was a living tea bag.
I feel like, were you getting like budget Ukrainian TV or something back
Excuse
in your
me,
childhood?
it was voiced by Andrew Sachs, right? Who mainly known now for being bullied by Russell Brand,
Yeah,
but like you
and
know,
dead now also.
well that too.
Yeah, that's how I know him. That's really. That's
You mainly know him
big
for being
celebrity
dead.
role
I
is
like
dead.
the idea that you only encounter celebrities when they die. You're like, oh, I must go back and listen to David Bowie.
Not Bertha.
You got Bertha, so she's real. Oh,
I knew I didn't make it up.
Bertha.
See,
she's quite claymation-y. She's a lovely machine, you're.
Just cut the back end of her.
great. It's very Magic Roundabout.
It is. It makes me think of.
Or Fireman
beautiful.
Sam. It's a similar kind of like
Or,
animation.
Remember
style.
that cunt Norman?
Oh,
He
fuck
took the
that
piss.
guy. Yeah, fuck that
Who
guy.
was Norman, the wee lad?
Yeah,
wee
he just
wanker.
used all the
Holy
resources in the
fucking-
town.
Yeah, he
getting
was
in trouble.
burning through public funds.
Was he the one with the Italian ma?
You kind of look
Yes.
like older Norman.
Fuck off.
That is, when someone is ginger, they look like every ginger person
So glasses.
ever made.
Join us on. We have Norman.
What about Don't Look Under That Trapdoor? That was a banger.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was fucking Burke.
You're a fool if you dare.
What's his mate in Fireman Sam? Did I imagine? His mate Elvis? Did he have a
Yes.
mate Elvis?
Yes, he did.
They're all Welsh.
Yeah.
And they're Punty Pandy. Punty Pandy Fire Station. The only line I remember from, I used to have a video of Fireman Sam, and in one of those he goes, "You shouldn't leave the iron on the ironing board." And I'm like, what the fuck else are you going to put it? Leave your
Sorry.
iron in the fridge.
I'm just thinking of Elvis. It makes you think a bit of Jelvis, who you sat on a judging panel for in a comedy night lately.
Not four with.
Judging.
Not
We
four.
judge you.
It wasn't just a panel to
We
judge
you
Jelvis.
fit to Elv. No, he was a judge with you on a comedy show, and there's just some details about it that really, really tickled me. And I'm going to say this with love, but there was like a point where you said to Jelvis, like an actor just put on stage, he was like, "What do you think of that guy, Jelvis? Bit of a hound dog, eh? Leaves you with a suspicious mind, eh?" And he just sort of stared at you like,
Yeah,
what
I was like, am I going to get chinned by Jelvis?
he looked really mad. And like Sean,
Would you say you were all shook up?
yes, you got caught in his trap. Sean McAlevey at one point asked him a couple of questions about, like, are you on the apps or whatever? And he's like, I am on the apps. I haven't used them in a wee while. And Sean goes, are you down as Jelvis or are you down as Jordan? Because his name's Jordan, you know. And he goes, I'm down as Jelvis. And he's like, so here, does that ever happen? Like, but whenever, you know, a girl's expecting to meet Jelvis and then Jordan shows up and he goes, what the fuck's that supposed to mean? Like, what the fuck do you think it's supposed to be?
I referred to him as Jordan, you know, Jelvis. Sorry.
Definitely more to go with that. Like, I'm sure he's a lovely fella, but like,
he seems lovely, yeah.
but you know, he's in much the same way that being a comedian makes you a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Wanting to do what he does probably makes you a little bit weird too.
Oh,
He's doing
yeah.
stand-up next week, but it feels
he?
like exploitation a wee bit.
Yeah.
Of like...
Yeah.
Of what, Elvis's estate?
yeah. I don't know, they're like, we're going to bring this guy
Telegram
on.
for
But
Graceland.
It's going to be awful when he dies in the toilet before he goes on.
Which venue is it?
it's a new night in... I don't want to
That's right.
dox it. What is that?
I thought you were going to say, yeah. I thought you were going to
Well,
say
I mean,
Madness.
you've
That only has one
already
toilet.
doxed it. You're saying Jelvis is doing it this next week. I think we'll be able to narrow it down.
yeah.
like.
Laveries.
Oh, travel story. I murdered an animal in Spain, right?
If you're going to say, I
That's-
murdered at Laveries.
You are a Slytherin.
It was 2012 and I was in Spain with my then girlfriend, and this was the holiday that broke us up, really. Well, it was everything that broke it. It was a bad relationship.
I
but-
remember this holiday where you were bullied into renting a car and then you crashed it. Is
No,
this
that
it?
was actually a different one as well, but that was...
You love breaking up after a holiday.
Hey, actually, Israel and Palestine broke up that relationship. She was like, I'm moving to Palestine. I was like, am I that bad? But this girl, I was in Spain, and there was an iguana on the wall one night, and it was like this size, really small thing, but we'll say about 3 inches for a listener. And it was on the wall, and I was like, oh, here, look at that. And she was like freaking out, and I was like, yeah, it's cute, isn't it? And she's like, no, get rid of it. And I was like, why? It's not doing anyone any harm. She said, be a man and get rid of it. And I was like, I'm 21, so I was like, okay, yeah, I guess I have to be a man
you
then.
about being 21, but that would work now.
Oh, yeah.
Your reference is you be a man and do that. You're
Be
like,
a man.
fuck it, I'll
Be a man, get me a
kick
cup
a
of tea.
hole in.
Yeah. So I was like, I thought it was going to move quite quick. So I got a big metal pan and I put it against the wall that it was in.
Oh, wow.
And then I was like, oh shit, now what? I don't know what to do now. Because I was like...
You need a lid for
I had
the
to
pan?
slid, well, but the lid's too big to slide under. So I was like, I tried to slide some paper in, and then I felt the paper just jam. And it was because it was poking against the iguana. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do here. So I got the lid, and the wall ends here.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got the lid here, and what I'll do is I'll move the pan over, and then I'll get the iguana in there, and then have it out there, right? And then what ended up happening was I shifted it over here, and then the last push knocked the now dead iguana into the air at high speed, and then we broke up shortly after. But not me and the iguana. I mean, obviously, if you're in a relationship with an iguana that you've just beat to death, yeah, usually.
Well,
usually that's
if
not
you're
good
busy
for
with
the relationship.
anything and you've just beat it to death, it probably is the end of the relationship.
And if there's anything to take from today's podcast, I think never beat your romantic partner to death. We've lived, we've learned, we've laughed, we've loved.
Here,
We're all in a world of
Paramount.
owls. Instead of killing animals, I went to World of Owls, by the way. Sponsor the pod.
Class date. Just don't murder any of the birds. Any travel stories here as well? Sorry, wait, I feel like, have I shifted us away from Bertha? Because maybe there was a rich...
No, there's no more to
there was
Bertha
a
than
rich
that.
vein.
But look up Bertha, and I imagine Stoned it'd be a great watch.
We'll put it up on screen.
Perfect.
Talal Jomar said, arrested in South Africa, accused of blowing up a road.
I met him the day after he got out, and like, he was a lot calmer for a guy who's just been accused of terrorism.
I think that's how you get out, though, in fairness. You have to remain calm as well.
No, I think the eerie calm would make you, because a
Actually,
normal
yeah.
person would crumble at the threat of being a terrorist.
So what happened?
He arrived back and he was like shorts and t-shirt at this gig, and he was telling me, "Oh, I got arrested in South Africa. They hit me with a gun and all." like around the back of the head.
Jesus.
And he said, and he was showing me his ear, and his ear had like dried blood in it. And I'm like, what are you doing at a fucking open mic in Armagh? Like,
So why didn't he wash his ears when he got home?
So I was like sitting there like, what the fuck? Like I went like, as soon as you get off the plane, you're like, I've been abused by South African police.
Wait a minute, he was an Armagh?
Yeah.
That's not even, he's
That's
not even doing it for the money.
Yeah. He goes,
I
just need to get out of the house. I went, what?
You were in South Africa 12 hours ago. Look what happens when you get out of the house.
Yeah.
There's much likelihood of police brutality in South Armagh as well.
I think the story was that they'd been on the site and he'd got to like hold a gun on the site. There were security guys who were like, oh look, we've got all these class guns. And then when he went through when he went through security,
That's what I want from my security guard. Somebody who's very casual about handing his gun to strangers.
Check us out.
but yeah, obviously I think a bomb went off on the road, and then when he was going through security, gun residue appeared on him, and they were like, we've got our man.
That sounds like a story I might have told you. That's
it.
Oh, I was stitch up and gun residue on me near a bomb site.
And I just went, oh, son.
Sound, yeah.
Fair enough.
You did 10? What's good?
Well, I done bouncer last night at a fucking gig. Not bouncer, but like doorman. And anyone who was remotely, even though we were sold out, anyone who was remotely nice to me, I went, go on ahead.
Yeah.
you scream soft touch to me, like.
Yeah, they were like, people were like, oh, my mates are in there, it's just me, you know. And the bar staff were kind of cracking up on there's too many people, and they were like, oh, come on, please, no. And I was like, here, wait till the barman turns around. And when as soon as he turned around, I was stamping their arm and going, go on ahead and get in, you scamp. And then I turned around, the room looked like Hillsborough. Fuck me,
Jesus, Ciaran.
Karaoke night, but people were going.
Did you sing at the karaoke night?
No, I was in a terrible mood. So even though that's why I was just, I could be fucked arguing people.
Now,
What's your
the people
karaoke
who you let in, nobody bought you a pint or anything?
No, quite a few people bought me pints, so I didn't spend a pint. I actually made one.
Nice.
But like,
What's your karaoke choice?
I was going to do a bit of Creed last night, but
Nice.
Can you take me higher?
one thing I love about the guy who runs the karaoke is that if someone gives him a shit tune, he goes, yep, no bother, writes it down, and then he goes, shh, switch it off. Like a guy came up to him who'd been on.
You see this? People get a taste for it now.
Yeah, and he'd done a duet, and then he put down People Are Strange by The Doors after, and he came on, and like, it just wasn't the vibe. It was good tunes, Islands in the Stream, and he came up and was like, I've been waiting for People Are Strange by The Doors, and my friend was like, oh, it's coming any second, and then
Where were you waiting by?
They just went, last orders, and he went, oh, you'll get your song.
Close with People Are Strange, clear the fucking room.
Yeah.
Jeez, the Doors are dreary shit.
Yeah, not for karaoke.
But this guy also then went back, put up an Instagram story complaining about karaoke and how there's an art to it. And he was like, there's an art to karaoke.
He should not have sung.
This is...
You say this all the time. Yeah, it's not for people who are good.
It's not for people who can sing. The whole point is that it's silly.
Yeah.
And like, so somebody gets up and goes, oh, hold on, I'll show you my range. Sit the fuck down.
Aye, take that back to musical
theatre. I want to see a 55-year-old man do Baby Got Back, all right?
Yeah.
Let him on, never mind you.
There's a guy, there's a place in Liverpool called Woodsies. It's like a karaoke bar. Mm-hmm. But the DJ, like, is just a bit too fond of it himself.
Yeah,
you know,
a lot of those DJs sing
the
a bit.
bar is bunged, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's like constant requests coming in. There's like a big long queue of people waiting to get up and do their song, and he'll slot himself in every 2 or 3 songs to do one of his own.
He's an MC.
He's like the MC of it, but like you're going, there's enough. I'd understand if you were an MC and then there's like 5 people in the bar and you maybe need to fill in a couple yourself.
Yeah.
Like, but
create a vibe.
This place was rammed, and he was still going, no, I need to do my Frank Sinatra numbers.
I'll Sinatra as well.
There was last time I was at a karaoke bar was in Torremolinos, and there was about 5 people in, right? And so I think I sang 3 times because it was just like, there was nobody.
Aye.
But there was a couple where she could sing, although not as well as she thought, and he could not, but was convinced he could.
Oh.
And him doing Viva Las Vegas.
Incredible.
Like, here, you want to see a song feel like it takes 20 minutes? Because Viva Las Vegas, not
You
much
can shout,
track, actually.
Yeah. You can shout in Viva Las Vegas as well.
You know, and he just go, Viva Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. And you can see as he got quieter and quieter, he was losing faith in himself as it went on. Viva Las Vegas.
I'll tell you a great one, like I done. Limp Bizkit break stuff, but I got everyone going.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Oh,
you
and
can
everyone
get-
was
you
like
can get
up around him,
people
and I was
for
like,
that.
that's good. And then
Motherfucker.
yeah, that because I got him going, and he was kind of fat, so everyone was like, oh, that's like Fred Durst.
Our friend Durst was like, I've got an idea for a music video. How about I get off with Halle Berry?
It's like, he directed
And
a
everybody
film
went,
as well.
"Aye, all right.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah."
the old Tarantino, isn't it? As
Yeah.
well, it's like got a foot fetish, and he's like, "How about in this scene, I actually play a guy, and my role is I suck Selma Hayek's toes."
And then I say the N word a lot in another
Yeah,
film.
he loves saying the N word. The
What's the-
scamp.
Every photo of him and Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio, Tarantino always poses like he's the handsome one. In all the photos, he's always posing like,
That's what you should do, though.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you're around folks like that,
I always feel like Tarantino looks like the Simpsons version of himself. Do you know what I mean? You go, oh yeah, I can see that. you know?
yeah, he's got the clear skin.
he seems incredibly annoying if you have a drink with. Like, I'd imagine he would be.
Oh, if you're
Now
talking to you
you're
about fucking
fucking head.
Kurosawa.
Yeah.
Although I remember, speaking of Kurosawa, there was a Fraser Robb, local comedian who's 51. Somebody, a much younger comedian who had that name, asked him if he'd seen Jumanji, right? And he said, no, I've never seen Jumanji. And he goes, what? How can you not see it? It's a classic. He goes, I was 28 when it came out. I wasn't watching fucking Jumanji. He says, I was going through a Kurosawa phase. Like, I fucking hate Jumanji, actually. I think Jumanji's shite.
Oh, I like the first one. I hate
Yeah.
the second one with the
Pretty
rock.
scary when I was a kid.
There's a
but-
universal thing. I think, it's with The Rock. You go, it's probably bad then.
Yeah.
Isn't it? He's...
The Rock, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and Gil Gadot, and Ryan Reynolds. Actually, they're like the five horsemen of this film's going to be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Gal Gadot in particular, fucking dreadful.
Our very own Sean McDonald gave in a travel story about someone on drugs throwing a Chinese over him in Vegas. Viva Las Vegas, indeed.
Viva Las Vegas.
Had to walk through 45-degree heat smelling like a chow mein. And that was before he threw it on you.
Hey, yeah.
Ruined a very nice romper
Aye.
that I
Oh, a
bought
romper too?
specifically for that.
Was
a
it
romper?
stag then? It's like a onesie, isn't it? Is that a onesie?
No, it's like no, like a set, like a short and top set.
Oh, I get you. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was like a bowling shirt sort of thing, and
Oh,
shorts.
nice.
It was like a nice
Bowling shirt, he might have done you a favour.
Yes, yeah. Was it cooking in the sun as well? Like
It
by the end
was,
as well?
because
Who's you going to chime in the daylight?
it was like barbecue sauce with noodles. I don't know where the fuck he got it. There's a guy who looked like Kurt Cobain in the last few days. You know what I mean? Like he was very fucking,
Like the last few days recent, like now. Like
It was a skeleton with a chime in.
Yeah, yeah.
He was
Real
like-
Halloween trip.
this scrawny guy, and I went to walk up towards the lights to cross the street, and like there was constant cars, like a 5-lane fucking road,
Oh, wow.
and there was just constant cars going past, you know, and obviously you're waiting on the wee green man coming up, and like I don't know what he was seeing in his head, but he just kept going,
Who the grey man?
like he just kept going, cross the road, motherfucker.
Wow.
And I was like, what? And I was like, ignore him, you know, and he kept like shouting it in my ear, and I was going, he thinks the road's fucking clear here, and I'm like blocking his way or something. So eventually when the road did clear, I went across the road, and he was like, you fucker, you know, and like just
Wow.
unprovoked just started dipping his hands into the fucking hanging noodles and fucking them
Jesus.
around me. I tried to go up the escalators in the Venetian hotel, and
Is he still following?
he went up the other escalators like it was like Jingle All the Way, like and he was like following me up the other escalators, and he had like no, like in The Simpsons you have that big gulp, like no the slush
yeah,
puppy
yeah.
fucking things. He was like, he had one of them too and was throwing that.
It's like more and more of this guy's meal is just disappearing in the name of revenge.
I thought he
Here,
would have
you
needed
should have done Ocean's 11 in the fucking Venetian because the security there is terrible.
It was awful. I went up and there was literally security at the top of the escalators, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Did you see what happened there? Like, I was just attacked there on your premises," and they were like, "Nah, nothing we can do." about it."
Maybe Las Vegas is the only other place other than here where they go, we didn't get it for nothing.
That probably was out them doing Ocean's 11 because you know in a film when they go make a distraction and he's like, "Great, I've got just the idea.
Yeah,
Here's just fling chow mein."
That I love the idea of like Don Cheadle just throwing chow mein at people.
Yeah, because he did so calm.
Food and threw it back at him. Like.
Oh,
I
yeah,
had
you'd
was
have to
water.
order though. You know?
Unfortunately, I did throw the water over him.
It's the worst city I think I've ever been in.
Oh, yeah?
Las Vegas.
Serious?
Las Vegas.
That was
I
appeal
love
to
it.
me. Like,
Didn't you do like your third gig there and you were wearing a 10-gallon hat, or did you just say you were going to do that and I've remembered that as fact?
No, yeah, I went to the Grand Canyon was the best part about it. It was unbelievable.
Right.
And then I sort of sat with a cop on the way back. Like he was from Philly, but we were like had a couple of beers in the Boston. You know, Vegas is for me, and it cost me $45 in a taxi to go to this open mic for 3 minutes. And I was
Wow.
like,
Wait, why did the cop sit with you and drink a beer?
he was just seeing the Grand Canyon as well, but he was man, you're Irish.
He wasn't on duty.
No,
yeah, he was
yes,
just,
yeah.
yeah, have a bear with me.
You got a police escort. They heard your trouble.
Local bad boy having the open mic. Remember, yeah. Oh, it was like just the worst crack. Like, and like I remember at my cousin's stag do or my uncle's stag do, we went to this place called Fremont Street, which you hear about casino and all. And when I arrived there, I was just like, this is just what's sort of like grotty or grim or something. It's just.
But the gig?
Oh, the gig was fine, like, but
Oh,
the
yeah.
fucking it was just gross.
There's nothing you can get there you can't get in an Oasis casino.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Just
100%.
this sad people on fruit machines.
Yeah, there's something really desolate about them wee places, isn't there? And like in the middle of like most places inside of Yorkgate are kind of desolate looking anyway, aren't they? They're a bit depressing. I quite like
Gallagher's bar.
I before now I said nothing about the gig there, but the bar I just think that's weird having a bar in a shopping centre.
Yeah.
Do you know what I find really weird about there? The bouncer stands at the front door of Yorkgate, which is like 3 floors away.
Yeah.
Like, what use are you here?
He will not even hear if a glass gets smashed over
Because
your
even like
head.
say the usual bouncer thing of like, oh, you're too
Yeah.
drunk, you can't get in.
Yeah.
Somebody's hammered, you walk past you go, you can't get in. You go, oh, I'm only going to the cinema.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, right now.
B&M bargains.
There was
Don't worry about it.
they
Going
used
for
to-
a Burger King.
There was a virtual reality arcade in there,
Yeah.
and I felt like they really had a good idea because you could go in and you could pretend to be
you're not in
anywhere
Yorkgate.
but Yorkgate. Yeah.
I will say I won 200 quid at the bingo one time.
Did you?
So,
Oh, right. No, that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. Now, if you got into the bingo for a
Well,
wee bit,
weirdly, me and my wife, we won 2 consecutive games. We won 200 quid each.
right.
And I was like, oh, people hate us. You could see. Do you know what I love about it, right? The people go, oh, it's great. They all get out and all the wee ladies and all go and play bingo together. See, as soon as the last winner is called, you wouldn't see them for fucking dust. They couldn't give a shit about their mates. Like, fuck you, Mavis. And away. And like, if somebody wins, you can see all the other women be like, ah, fucking bitch.
Can you drink at the bingo?
Yes, but you have to get your drink in Gallagher's and bring it through.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, but it's quite cheap, isn't it? As well, like that
Yeah.
was part of the appeal.
Well, it would have to be.
It would have to be. They need people in there. Like it's like there's a bar on one end and then funky monkeys on the other. It's like they know what the appeal
I
is
walked
here.
in one time. I always wondered, like, why is there a bar in Yorkgate? Like,
Yeah.
I walked in and there was nobody there, empty, nobody behind the bar, and he's like, "What the hell?" And then walked round. There's like a wee side bit when you go in, and
Aye.
turn around, full on darts tournament happening.
The ring in there,
that'll
like,
be
but
it, yeah, they've got niche
They
stuff.
know themselves, like, nobody's going to go there unless they have a reason to be in there.
Aye, it used to be the 5 o'clock lounge before it was Gallagher's, and if you went in, also completely empty. By the way, every time I went in there, but there's like a neon sign at the back that said it's 5 o'clock somewhere. But when there's no one else in the bar, you read it in a sad voice in your head rather than like a
Aye,
cheer.
you with a lonely pint going, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
2 o'clock today. Going, oh.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I guess that means I better pick up the kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Funky monkeys.
Maybe she'll let me see the kids because it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
No job.
That's grim.
I
That's
know
so
that
grim.
I time to kill before going to the cinema, which I already going to the cinema by myself to see the film Baby Girl in a tracksuit is depressing.
Nice.
But I timed to kill, and I went, I wonder can I get a pint in Gallagher's? So I walked in, and I was just, and immediately I expected them to be like, no tracksuits, and they just went, yep, no worries, it was the best.
No worries.
It's the best
Yeah,
dressed guy
they're,
in
just
there.
glad, they're just glad you're wearing trousers.
Yeah.
Honest to God.
That's like a suit and
bow
tie to
tie.
them.
Yeah. This guy, are you going to a formal? Are you?
Yeah,
That's it.
What is you, so dapper?
Mr. Big Shot. Do
Yeah,
Should we do fan mail?
you want to do fan mail?
Or am I
Mr. Big Shot in his grey sweats.
Am I sticking all the segments in too close? I don't know. We've got fan mail here. They're all they're numbered, but they're.
Can I read?
the first
Can
one
I
there
do a
on.
dramatic reading? This one
If
here.
you'd like, yeah. If you'd like, you've got.
Okay.
You got
This is from Deirdre in Drummond, who's 86.
good on you, Deirdre.
Love Alan Irwin when he's on the radio. Is he married? I have no taste for Luke McGibbon.
Oh, that's.
I suppose legally yes, morally no.
Are you on the radio?
No, married.
No, but
Are you on the radio?
No, but are you on the radio? Because you said I love Alan Irwin when he's on the radio.
Am I ever on the radio?
You were
I was on the radio last week.
Oh, were you actually?
Yeah. Last week I was on a pilot that's on BBC Sounds right now called Soundmate.
Oh, I right enough. Yeah,
me,
yeah.
Aaron Butler's host. It's me, Dave Elliott, William Thompson, and
And Deidre, apparently.
No, whose name has completely gone out of my
Justine
head.
Stafford?
Justine Stafford.
Oh, yeah.
Who was a lovely girl. And very, very funny.
folks.
It's very funny, actually. But I was on U105 one time, being interviewed by Frank Mitchell, only over the phone, but you could sense the joy. And he interviewed me anyway, and he had made a joke about, I always thought about doing it, but I never did or whatever. And then the last thing I said to him, I was like, well, Frank, if you ever want to do a wee 5 minutes somewhere, just give me a shout. And he went, thanks very much, Alan Irwin. Great guy.
What year was that? How long were you doing?
2015.
Why haven't you used that as a quote in your
I was
tour
going to say 2015 you would have. I would have used.
Great guy.
Yeah, include the ha.
Kieran's always, because that's what you want in a comedy poster.
Yeah.
Kieran,
Hey, you'll laugh. You'll laugh.
Kieran
It's quoted.
always, whenever he's MCing, when I come off, he'll always go, Alan Irwin, great guy.
That's really funny.
I remember one time I went, this next act's a great guy, but it's like, then you get up and you say, like some of the stuff, you're like, I'm just divorcing my wife.
Well, also, that's a weird thing you do as an MC where you go, this next act's a very funny comedian. You're like, what, as opposed to all the other ones? What are you saying here?
The worst is like, and I was down on my whole MC, and it was like April 2023, and I hadn't really MC'd, and down on my whole MC, and no joke, and I just wanted it to be over, like. And I remember Aaron McCann was headlining, and I went, this next act, and and the minute I said it, I went, fuck's sake, Ciaran. I went, he's the best act in the country, which just puts so much pressure on them to be like.
This guy is the funniest, especially if the gig's been going badly.
It was going well, but it was just like, like, I think every time I came back on stage, they were like, fuck this guy again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They like the acts.
That's the worst. Right,
I think Kieran's got the next one
you got
there.
one?
Wee Jimmy from Wales, 29, Land of the Valley, say, were it up to me, Luke McGibbon would be deported. Love you, Ciaran. I didn't add that in. Hashtag Farage 4 p.m. Oh, 4 p.m. Not Farage.
Was it? He said, word up to me, did he say?
Were it up to me?
Or were it up to me, Luke McGibbon would be deported?
Yeah.
More too, though. Deported implies you've somewhere else to go.
The Isle of Wight.
I live here. You can't make me leave. Okay, yeah, very much. Okay, good. Thanks very much, Jimmy from Wales. Did you say?
Land of the Wales, Land of the Valleys.
Right. Okay. I've actually got one here.
Here, I love all that fucking Fireman Sam content.
This one's here. It's from Ansel 48. It just says Dutch rather than a
Love this
location.
work regret.
There's formal request for Ciaran to insult, interrupt, and speak over Luke McGibbon, please. Give the people what they want. It says here.
So we don't have to beat you up after the podcast.
Yeah, I guess so.
That'd be
Okay.
the most bitched out fight ever, me versus Luke. Like, I imagine it would be one of the worst.
I remember there
Lot
was
of
a guy, we'll call him NJ with the two names, but I remember watching a fight in school and like it was the most pathetic thing I've ever seen.
Is it?
Like at one point somebody went,
I thought you meant at some point people like were shouting something about pity, like mercy, there's another? Okay.
yeah. May 92
Oh, thank you, May.
from Worcestershire.
Okay.
Love the sauce.
Worcestershire. I do love the sauce, yes, stay for the
Crisps,
sauce.
I'm told.
And she says, Google good lasagna recipe, please.
Can I see that?
Yeah.
I think May's just been. I think girl X might have maybe done something bad there. Okay.
I knew a guy whose granny, when she got introduced to the internet, she would, like, if she wanted to look up lasagna, she'd type into Google, hello, could you possibly give me a good lasagna recipe, please? Thank you.
I think that's very sweet.
It
She'll
is.
be spared.
Oh, whenever she got it, then she would go back to Google and type in thank you.
Oh, that's
I
very
do that
sweet.
with ChatGPT sometimes.
I do that with ChatGPT.
I thank ChatGPT.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a friend.
I try not to use it, but I ask.
ChatGPT, can you speak to me in like a Belfast dialect?
Oh,
from
yeah?
now on?
Does he do it?
And it just went, memory saved, no bother, mate.
That's quite sweet.
It just still does it. Like
I did sort of go once, like, do you think saying thank you and stuff and things like that, if AI ever goes wrong, do you think that's the sort of thing you'll remember and show kindness for? And they said, essentially, they didn't say it in these words, but they said, probably not. Like, it probably won't really matter.
ChatGPT, you're like, could you just say to me, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, so that I can open this bottle of raw vodka?
Well, it's like
plans.
ChatGPT,
the Twitter
can you
AI
pretend to
isn't
be
seen.
my kids and that you like me?
Yeah.
ChatGPT, can you enable my alcohol addiction?
The one thing AI can't do is explain why it's a good idea to have a bar in Yorkgate.
Yeah.
That's the one thing it can't do.
System grass. Yeah.
You're saying about Twitter there?
Oh, the Twitter one was like, it's go suggestions for you, and it was like you drawn as a Napoleonic leader. And I was like, yeah, I like,
Yeah, go
look
for
at that. And I sat there looking at it too much. And I went, just could hear in my head, the great leader. Just gonna-
I saw this thing recently where they'd used graphs to determine Napoleon was actually one of the greatest generals ever made, because ever about, because he it was some sort of mathematical equation about losses essentially, but I can't remember what it was. I've got one last
Hot take. Napoleon, good general.
quite a good general. You heard it here
Dick,
first.
don't go
like
into Russia in the winter.
Optus
There's
It's like, no,
it's
like the
YouGov.
fuck-
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's like the fucking Premier League stats. It's
I
like,
think the XG,
League
yeah.
tables. I've got one last letter here from Peter 16 Pennines. It's another. Okay, I think it's like May there, but this is my application for the Robot Wars fan club. Oh no, actually hit the bottom. They've done a little drawing of me as a stick man getting struck by lightning. So okay, that's all the fan mail this week.
Speaking of Robot Wars, the years ago, whenever I used to do a Simpsons podcast with Heather Anderson.
Shout out.
And it's still up there, Stupid Sexy Podcast, if you want to listen to it all. At about the third episode, there was Robot Wars in The Simpsons. And I looked up Robot Wars while we were recording. And first of all, there's a robot called Panic Attack, which is not good for somebody with anxiety. But also, like, it had like their strengths and weaknesses. And one of Matilda's weaknesses was that she lacked self-control. She's a remote controlled robot. She entirely lacks self-control.
There's just got bad Wi-Fi essentially. Just occasionally the batteries run out.
I mean, it sounded like something you put in your CV. It's like, what's your greatest weakness? I lack self-control. What's your greatest strength? I have a strong exoskeleton.
A mechanically controlled pickaxe on my back. I also, if you were to write your greatest weakness in your CV, I think if you said I lack self-control, that's one of the ones you don't actually mention.
No.
As well. That's too deep. That's like, this guy's
sounds like
dangerous.
you've had HR issues in
There's,
the past.
it's like, is this Dexter applying for this
Like,
job?
as somebody who's sat on interview panels, you would be amazed at what people are willing to admit. What do you think your greatest weakness is? Oh, I'm always late and hungover and all. And you're like, what? Like, come on. The thing you say is, oh, sometimes I just work too hard, or like, you know, I like to get things done as quickly as possible. You know, but people just go like, oh, see me, mate, I'm never off the fucking gear. You know, that's my problem.
I'm a total legend. I sat in an interview panel for a couple of people once, and one of my favourites was a guy. He didn't really have any answers to any of the questions, and when he was asked sort of why he was applying for this job, which was in support work, support living, he just said like, I really don't like my current job. And that was it. It was just like, I want to leave.
Honesty.
But also, no harm to him, but this isn't the best move. Here, I hate my job that's like sitting at a desk. I'd love a much more stressful job with worse hours. That's what I really want.
In fairness to him, he was a nurse at the time, so it probably was less stressful to him. But yeah, it was,
But also much less. I know what you were earning in there. It wasn't fucking worth it.
No, yeah, I wasn't earning much at all. It was something you did for the love of it, and then you had a breakdown. That was generally the pattern that most people did.
On me and Ronan's podcast, The Worst There Was, about wrestling, we
Still going?
watched. It is still. Oh, absolutely.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to go. Is it still going? You guys still?
But we watched Lou Theroux did a documentary about like wrestling, and he went to like top end stuff, but he also went to like local like guys that are doing it part time. And one guy was like, what I do is my job, I just put headphones in and I visualize what I'll do in matches, right? And mostly what he did was hit himself with a glass and stuff. But his job, which he did for 12 hours a day, was pairing socks.
That's grim. Like,
That imagine literally, like it's literally true that him throwing himself through a barbed wire table was a release from his things are looking up.
That's really funny.
I'm falling through glass in front of 12 people. That's the highlight of my week.
Who was he doing that for? Like, was he doing it for like a shop
It
or
must
like
be a sock
person?
factory. It must be a sock factory.
Yeah, it's gotta be. It's gotta be. It's not gonna be.
The socks come from somewhere,
Where are they
lads.
coming out on?
Yeah, you'd think there's. Not to be mean about this guy, but surely there's a machine does that better.
Definitely, I'd say now there's a machine.
Who's working in the odd sock factory?
Yeah.
But like this was 1998 or something. You know what I mean? So things have moved on a bit.
Oh, okay.
my
I get
thing
you.
is like, this is if like, why are you going to do wrestling then after and be like, this is going to be just what I need my day?
Well, now, I'll say this, Ciaran. Surely we can empathise with the idea. You've just done a week's work. Why are you fucking about or something for no money?
Yeah, well, sure, yeah. Why are you gonna? Yeah, like I went down to Dublin, which is like it's good. It was one of the ones where I was coming. Put it this way, I pulled out of my gig on the Sunday. I just had like the most okay time, and I was just like, I don't want to.
Long journey for okay.
I don't want to hang around all day Sunday to do a gig that is potentially going to be the worst of them all.
It used to be that like we had to go like when we were
You did it for free, didn't you?
but you go to Dublin all the time because there was so few gigs. But
Yeah.
now it's totally not worth it.
Aye.
But this guy, like, he was just, I don't know, he was depressing. And then at the end afterwards, he goes, "Oh yeah," he was all concussed and all, but he was trying to remember what his order was for Waffle House. And he goes to Waffle House after every show and gets a ham and cheese omelette.
That's
right?
not bad.
You're going to Waffle House, get a fucking waffle.
Wait, how does he not
Who on a
remember
Saturday
that?
night goes, "You know what I'd love to celebrate is an omelette that I can make at home."
Why is he struggling to remember that? He's got that many head injuries. Sorting socks is probably the only job he can do. The socks probably weren't odd. Someone gave him socks that they had ordered
Are you sure he has a
outside of the
job?
room for him just to keep him busy. Just to go, he's got a
This is
brain
all
injury.
this elaborate Shutter Island style scenario.
Yeah.
I'm still fucking intrigued by the concept of an odd sock factory. Like, surely you look at the business model at some point and go, like, I think we're costing ourselves more money making them odd.
But do you ever like have the thing where you know when you're putting away your own washing and you spend more than 5 seconds looking for the match of a sock and you think you're going to have a nervous breakdown? He does that for 12 hours a day, and in his respite is he cuts himself with barbed wire.
Well, it's like untying shoes.
Fucking smashing bottles over my head.
Oh, it's great in front of children who are upset.
Yeah.
You know.
Untying shoelace. If I can't get a shoelace out, I get really
Oh,
frustrated. Like I get
that.
so angry.
You see,
like,
if
it's like,
you like these, so these are like high tops.
Yeah.
If you're trying to like put your foot in and you haven't loosened the laces enough.
Yeah.
One way ticket to literally losing my mind. Like I'm like,
Yeah, I think you get 3 seconds.
I'm not even going now.
Yeah.
I won't even leave the house.
Yeah. I think each shoelace gets about 3 seconds of your time, and then after that, you're done with it. You're like, nah, I'm like you say, I'm staying in. Like, I'm going back to the socks. I'm going back to sort.
So you're saying about the Shutter Island thing as well, like in work. I've worked in a school now for a while, and sometimes I'm like, right, I'm leaving soon. I'm going to get a proper job, and I keep ending up there the year after.
Do you ever?
And I'm kind of like, am I a pupil?
Remember, look at me, yeah. Well, no, you're going to do more 7 years. But do you ever have that thing where you go, I hope my life is the Truman Show.
Yeah.
Like, I hope it's all going to turn here in a minute.
Sometimes my life is so boring. I'm like, I really hope it isn't the Truman Show, not because of the human rights violation, but because I am so boring. Like, sometimes I'm sitting in front of a laptop for about 7 hours in a row, and I'm like, no one can be watching and enjoying this, for fuck's sake. Set something on fire, you know?
Well, the Truman Show, they simulate events, or they set
Aye, they made
events
shit
up to make
happen.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, you're sitting there in your life and you're going, my ratings must be fucking awful. I'm going to have to induce some sort of trauma here.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
To pick and
give him
Yeah.
something to do, you know?
Do you know what he never tried whenever he became aware that things were going wrong and he was manipulating it a bit? Is he never just tried just getting his dick out? Because they couldn't broadcast that. Well, they, like,
Yeah, but the crucial thing is the film also couldn't broadcast that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they couldn't just show Jim Carrey's dick on screen. But if it was,
And what happens when he has a fucking tug of himself?
well, when he has sex, they cut away.
They
It
cut
shows
away,
you the
they
show.
turn the thing, you never see anything.
Yeah, and it's like,
also,
get your dick out then.
Jim Carrey's Canadian, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's also why they couldn't show, because like the uncircumcised penis would have freaked out the American viewers.
It's like, has he got 2 dicks?
Why is there a Sharpay there?
There's a
What's
dick
going on?
coming out of his dick.
On that note, well, I think we've done it bang on an hour now.
I think we have.
Yeah.
What a weird note to end this on.
Jim Carrey's
If I'd known
dick.
we were coming towards the end, I wouldn't have fucking talked about Jim Carrey's uncircumcised dick.
In a way, this podcast is the uncircumcised dick
Yeah.
of the podcast scene. And that,
And it's not as aesthetically pleasing, but it is better.
Yeah.
I was going to say, from the outside, it looks quite simple, but you pull it back and there's more to see.
Well,
Thanks very much.
Take a lot of yourself.
Thanks very much for watching.